This is a podcast about just opinions.
Hey, yo, this is what it is. This is what I think.
We all have kind of outlandish takes.
Like, don't at me.
If there's other free-form stuff that comes with it, we cover that too.
Hey, hold on real quick. Hold on. Pause.
We're live.
Yeah, again.
Mobile studio. Man, I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get our equipment all the way yet.
It's not good.
We were supposed to have our, the interface? It's not here yet. That's all right. Like you said, we'll get it.
That's so good.
Man, so first off, let's show the fans some love, right?
Yeah.
We realize that y'all have been listening. Numbers going up a little bit. I mean, it's relatively speaking. We just want to say thank y'all for listening, really.
For sure, man. Appreciate y'all.
Chance is laughing at me.
You funny, though.
All right, so let's take a look. So last time,
shit you just sent me. Fucking
Jason Derulo. Let's start with that.
Hell
No, not that one.
I'm not starting this fucking podcast with that shit, bro. Chill the fuck out.
Man, so that'll be my first gripe then.
I mean, all right. Well, I didn't have anything to say about it. You just sent it to me. I didn't know about it until like fucking 2 minutes ago.
I guarantee you, by the time this comes out, I'm sure there are already going to be several memes about it. Maybe we're ahead of it.
Do people still talk about that type of shit?
I mean, dude, like you had a whole rant last episode about recycled and what's his face didn't kill himself jokes, and yeah, people are gonna be talking about this. People talk about everything.
I bet you they will.
All right.
But
so we're talking about this Jason Derulo thing.
I don't even know who that is.
You know who that is. He sings all those weak songs. He's always riding horses and shit, shirtless.
Nah, bro. Like, what kind of song he sang? What's the song he sang?
Man, I honestly can't think of a single track on the top of my head.
You gotta play me something.
All right.
I really don't care because I don't know who.
You
this
don't,
is.
but like, all right. So while I'm pulling that up,
The
I
name
put
doesn't
Jason Derulo. He's got some weak songs. Talk Dirty to Me, or the one that's
I've
like.
never heard
You know that. What you say?
That's him.
Yeah, they have
What
that
you say, son?
wiggle. That the wiggle. It's like whistling.
Okay.
You killing me here, man. You trying to make
know.
now
No,
I'm sound
I
like
don't
fanning
know.
and shit. Nah, he's not. He's corny, but anyway, the joke is, what I'm outraged
You got me with
by,
that one song. Okay,
it's like pop.
Somebody that had a song.
It's
okay.
more like pop music, really.
All right.
They'll say it's R&B. It's pop.
All right.
But
What's
he
up?
had basically an Instagram post where he's on the chub, and he just kind of got it like over to the side. First of all, why? Right? That's got to be the first
That's
question.
what I'm asking too, man.
Why?
Like why?
Like, what do you try to prove? Like, what do you have to gain? If you're a celebrity, like, I don't know.
He got us talking about
Second
that
of all,
shit
he
with
did,
you.
because that's fucking hilarious. Second of all, like, obviously that's intentional, right? What kind of mindset, like, what are you going through in your head where you're like, I'm gonna be on the chub? First of all, it's either intentional. It's probably intentional. I think it is. Obviously, like, what else are you gonna do? Let's say, like, what's going through your mind? What's your strategy? Like, why are you doing this?
I don't know, but you know what's crazy that like that even kind of came up though. Like you're not even gonna believe. I don't know. Have you like checked the docket since like earlier today?
It's been a busy day.
The last thing on this shit, nigga, is NRBs. No, you remember that shit? No reason bonus.
I remember that.
Getting
Yeah.
the NRB, bro. That's crazy. How like that shit like. I literally put that
Our
shit on the
docket's
docket.
always the same, man. Even if it's
That shit's wild,
odd
man.
like that.
No reason bonus. Maybe he had an NRB, bro. No reason bonus.
Okay, so that's the other question. You're gonna look at the photo before you post it, right?
How you know he posted that shit? I mean, I don't know. Maybe somebody took a picture of him.
You're not looking at it? Like, let me make sure.
I
Let me
didn't
peek.
look at it that much when I saw it. So I was like, nah, I'm good.
You don't have to look at the picture hard to try to
You
diagnose.
did it,
like,
and that was
why
what's
is
weird
somebody
about it, man? Like, see, that's kind of.
All right, well, let's get right to the docket. So last time we talked about.
Yeah, that's weird though, man. NRBs though, man. Cause
Well,
we used to get that shit off in like probably like 6th,
Math
7th
class
grade.
or something.
Yo, man, just get like a random ass like boner, like out of nowhere. Like you'll be like, yo, what the fuck? And then like you'll have
Can't
to
do
go do
anything about it.
something. You have to like
yeah.
go do something like on the board. Man, that was fucked up. Teachers knew too. You think so? Think it was like some like pheromone shit, and they like no, you know what I mean?
Nah, I think they just see it in your face. They're like, this motherfucker's got a boner. Hey, come answer this question on the board, mother. Come on, come up here.
But I mean, that's fucked up, man. Cause like now I think
know.
about it, that shit happened a lot.
Hell yeah. Why?
Like that shit happened a lot, man.
Maybe
like,
it's just some shit where like you were so nervous about getting called to the board anyway that as a kid I feel like maybe that would trigger that, and then they fucking know you're nervous and they know what's going on. They're like, hey, come on up here and answer this question on the board.
so like math just gives you a bonus, like you know, like what? Wait, I don't get what you saying. Say it again.
No, I'm just saying like the whole feel, like the anxiety is what gets you
Getting
excited as a kid.
To do a math problem. on
No,
the
you're
board.
like nervous excitement. Like, don't call my name. Nobody wants to go volunteer to go answer the question up there.
Kind of like how
Not
dogs
nobody.
do that shit. You know
Yeah,
how like
the
dogs
red rocket. The red rocket, or they piss. That pisses me off. No, that upsets me when that happens.
pisses you off.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You can't say no pun intended because then it's gonna sound like it was purposeful.
Yeah.
Well, really, it wasn't. Anyway, let's get to the docket. Let me see.
Oh man.
You want to start? You want me to start? We talked the last time about we're just gonna jump into the docket instead of doing the
Yeah.
pre-work docket.
Hell yeah. I mean, you had a lot to say on like, oh, well, all right, first of all, you sent this shit that said, what this shit? It was like, oh, it was an article or some shit, a screenshot or something you sent me. It was like, millennials feel stressed.
Let's get into that. Let's talk about it
All
because
right,
we're
I'm
all
gonna read what
stressed.
it-
We're all well, not all millennials, but we are. All of us here right now.
All right, we're going to see. It says millennials feel stressed. The study found that 78% of millennials felt that they contributed more than they should to an office party gift compared to 58% of the rest of the workforce, while 26% of millennials admitted to dipping into their savings or overdrafting their accounts to fund an office gift. Nearly 17% reported that they felt judged by their coworkers for their choice of gift. And like in the main thing, it says millennials want to ban Secret Santa because it gives them anxiety. Like, come on, man. Like, that's why I don't consider myself a millennial. Like,
You know what's funny?
what?
I sent you this. I wasn't seeking out more examples for this, and I honestly forgot I sent you this. I was with Jamal yesterday, the day before. Yesterday, we were just talking about work stuff, catching up, because we're no
Right.
longer coworkers,
Right.
sadly. But anyway, he's talking about. We're all talking like it's almost like it could be its own Seinfeld type show. We're just talking about cubicle life. Call it cubes. Like almost like a Curb Your Enthusiasm thing, right? Like the little office taboos and nuances and shit like that. Basically, like
That's
in
just
that
called the
office space.
bro.
Yeah, but in that. Yeah, you're right. They already have it, but like a better one.
What?
Yeah, because you can make better than The Office. That might be an
Think
unpopular.
so?
That's an unpopular
I
opinion.
don't think so, bro. I've seen a lot of that shit, man. That's just always funny. Like whenever you
It's
watch
funny.
It.
It's a little bit overrated.
Think so? All right, that's something we talk about.
It is. I mean, it's cool. It's funny. I like the deadpan. I'm a fan of like the understated comedy. That's kind of my type of comedy. I mean, I like a lot of shit makes me laugh, but that's like really my go-to. But I don't know. It gets kind of weird. Like it kind of feels like sometimes it's not try hard, but like all right.
It's just wacky. It's wacky, but
some
like,
of the timing is bad. I feel like there's not enough serious in between the comic parts, because you kind of have to build some of the. I mean, the way that it was shot without an actual laugh track, which I'm fine with, that kind of just adds to that awkward tension.
Mhm.
But it's just kind of strange. I don't know. I feel like it's like tries
well,
too
it's a
much to be
mockumentary. So,
right.
I
And I
don't
mean,
know.
it's similar to the what is it, Modern Family? I guess by like the approach, like the shots and like how it's
But
no laugh track.
Didn't that shit like? Isn't that the same type of show? It's like a mockumentary as well.
Yeah, yeah. But that one feels a little bit different because I feel like they space out like the quips a little bit more.
It's office shit and then it's family shit, you know. So
true, but I'm talking about like the specific timing on the punchlines.
well,
I feel like they're just like the Office tries to jam a bunch of punchlines in all it, you know, like, hey, let's make this so over the top. Every 30 seconds, it's like, sheesh, what's gonna happen next? I don't know.
Right.
It's a good show. A little bit overrated.
I feel you.
But anyway, we're talking, and he mentioned the specific, work, holiday parties, Secret Santa. And it's funny because he was talking about how at his new job they have like 2 Secret Santas. And he's typically used to just kind of being like cheap about it, right?
Why they got 2 fucking Secret Santas? That's stupid.
I don't know. We'll have to ask him about it later. But basically, they have 2 Secret Santas, and it's not like a cheap, $5, it's like a $25 limit. So he's kind of like, damn, like, he's stressing about it. Like, he's not that level stressing about it. But it is kind of a funny dynamic. But,
what gifts really, like, cost $25 or less? That's like a everyday person gift. Like, what do you
have
get?
To...
That's why the white elephant thing is kind of cool.
Maybe it's white. I don't know. No, he's doing Secret Santa. I think. I don't know. Whatever. I like white elephant too.
That shit's really kind of lame. Like, fuck you. Like, you're not my friend. Like, that
that part does kind of suck. Because you have to, like, you're forced to play along. Like,
yeah, it's like,
I'm gonna give the box. Nah, I'm with you on that. It's just more of those like taboos. But I mean, I don't know. Like we always talk about the outrage culture. A lot of that's our generation. A lot of millennials just like to bitch about stuff.
Yeah, that's why we have this podcast. I mean,
we're literally bitching about people bitching.
But, bro, I really don't feel like I'm a millennial, man. Because, like, it's some shit that people bitch about. It's like, bro, like, y'all really care about this shit? Like, this is really a thing for you guys? Like,
people really, really care about shit, though. Like, people care. I mean, they
don't care about, like, real issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's never
it's
anything.
Like, it's on both sides. Like, it's not like some shit or all 4 or 5 sides, man. The world's fucking weird, bro. Like,
oh, no doubt. Like no reason boners. Nah. All right, let's jump right back into the docket. I want to jump into one because I was laughing when I saw this. The term "no cap" is overused.
Man, yes. Like, it is. Like, it's very overused nowadays. I'm so tired of it. Like, I just wish, like, somebody would come up with, like, something else to say. You know what I'm saying? And that people will stop saying that shit. Cause, like,
the funny part is,
really
I just started using it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this shit's old, but, like, I just started using it for whatever reason. Not that I use it all the time. Like, that's the only time I really do use
term it. Or the word or the phrase or whatever, capping is, like, always been around. But, like, the no cap thing, like, that's just like when people say, like, oh, my mama, or, like, on God, or, like, it's just
word
like,
life, God.
Yeah, but
God's son.
Shit is, like, not regional anymore. So, like, slang isn't cool. It's, like, internet shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no, like, you don't get that that shit from, like, the block, like, that type of talk, Yeah. Like, it's just, like, some shit, like, you heard, like,
what's the origin, then?
Of no cap?
Yeah.
I mean...
Like, if you're saying it's not, like, from the block, then, like, what...
Well, no, I'm saying, like, how everyone says it. Everyone, like, says phrases, period, now. It's not... Things aren't regional anymore. Like, it's not, like, how we... Like how we talk down here, like, like with the, like, I don't know, swang and bang type shit, you know what I mean?
Road.
Like, though, yeah, like shit like that, like trill, like how that was a regional thing and how it spread out through, like, people actually, like, famous people saying that shit, Like, now it's just, like, some, like, I don't know, like, random, like, fucking, like, catch me outside girl. You know,
Outside.
like Catch Me Outside shit. Like that
Why
shit
is she
got
famous now, by the way?
because of that, and she can rap. But you know, it's just like I don't know. Shit is just so lame nowadays. Like how it's brung about, and like they overplay it too much. Like I don't know. I just hear no cap and shit like too much. It's like, yo, all right, well then we know. Like just stop bullshitting. You know.
Well, I think that's kind of like when I think we've been groomed, like we've been tailored to throw in like a qualifier to let people know, like, because people are always so outraged, like, hey, please don't. I'll elaborate. So think about when you're texting somebody.
Mm-hmm.
There's no body language. There's no tone. There's no. It's all just the reader's interpretation.
Right.
The reader views it. The reader comes to their own conclusion about it, and then the reader makes their interpretation of what you meant to say. So it's there, and it's with way less information, way less data, if you will. So a lot of time you might text somebody something, and you'll be like, "Man, that kind of seems direct." I'm gonna throw an LOL in there so they know it's coming from a good place.
Right.
You know? And
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like no cap, you know? We've been tailored to add like a, you know, hey, no
It's just like
offense,
having a,
but
like,
here's
ad-lib.
something offensive. You know, no offense, but, you know, or I'm not racist, but, you know, like you hear people fucking say
Right.
that. It's like, nah, you are. So, I mean, do you think
I
no
just
cap?
think, like, it's a thing that people say that like they always be bullshitting, so like they just be like no cap, you know.
So they
like,
are. Here's the question:
to
are they
justify-
capping actually?
Yeah, probably. You know, like they usually are capping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, just words in general. But we all have this natural tendency to use filler words like
Yeah, I do it all the time. With,
We
like,
all do. I say you know,
you
a
know
lot.
What I'm saying? You know.
I realize I say you know a lot. Yeah, I mean. You mean? I say so, or for me, I always catch myself with that shit. I'm like, God,
Gotta
but
give a disclaimer and shit.
which it's like it's another one of those like obviously for me. If I'm stating it, it's coming out of my mind. What is that? Why do we do that?
I mean, I don't know. It like justifies the shit we spew into the world. You know, like to us, like you know, because like maybe it's coming from a real place and like it is some true shit. You know.
I actually have a theory about this too.
All
I
right.
think I realize when I say for me, I have this tendency. I say it loud, and I don't know if it's the actual for me, like the words I'm prefacing for me. I don't know if I'm right or not. I'm just guessing. We never know.
Right.
But I'm wondering if that's just the vehicle for me to raise my voice and interrupt somebody.
Yeah, it probably is. That's what I'm thinking.
And then when people say, so, you know,
Right.
just like that. So, you know, instead of us shutting up and listening to what the other person's having to say, it's us rushing to try to get something out. So you know, it's true though.
Nah,
right?
real shit. I understand what you're saying.
We need to be more cognizant of that. Like all of us, not we, you and I. I
Right.
mean, I know I do for sure. But everybody. People don't listen. That's something I have a problem with in today's society because there's outrage.
People have shorter attention spans.
Yes, that is extremely true. That is extremely
like,
true.
Everything's kind of fucked off. Like you really gotta get somebody's attention. Like when you're trying to convey something to them.
You have to like scream to grab it.
Nah, for real. You definitely gotta do that shit.
It's one of those things that sucks because it's a catch-22. If you shut up and sit back and listen, you might never get your point across.
Right.
Because nobody else is wanting to listen either.
Right.
You know? So it's just like a race of like, here's what I have to say. You know? It's just like, are you even really hearing what I'm saying? I've had so many arguments with people where I'm like, I don't think you realize we're saying the same thing. Why are we arguing? We're on the same page.
Yeah.
Like, listen to what I'm actually saying. You know? It's because nobody can listen.
That's true.
Listening's hard though. Like patience is hard. I've never understood this. As you get older, you're supposed to grow more patient.
Right.
I feel like I'm growing less patient.
Yeah.
We might have even talked about this
I think we have talked about this shit on the pod, but like, nah, it's like, that's mad true. Because sometimes I'll be like, man, what the fuck? I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to go through with that task. You know,
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
for real, like, you gotta, like, I gotta have, like, what's that word? An incentive?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta, like, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm winning in some type of way.
What's in it for me? Like,
Yeah,
you're
like,
winning.
what's in it for me? Like,
I mean, that's what it is. That's why it's so hard to compete with people's attention, because everybody has that mindset. I think we're overpopulated. There's so many damn people here. Last time, Antonio was talking about how, where he lives, men just, like, greatly outnumber women, so their attention spans
sounds
have
like
to be
a
full.
horrible place to be, man. Like,
By single, I guess, right?
I mean, yeah, if you, like, out there by yourself. I mean, I
You
guess if you, like, got, like, some, like,
game.
you got, like, some
slick game.
and stupid bread, like,
Yeah.
nice, like, house on Danny Tanner Street. I mean, what's the name of it? Yeah. But, nah, for real, though, I don't think I could make it out there.
Why?
Fuck that shit. Nah, it's just, I don't know. I just don't think that, what did he say? It was like 74-26 or some shit like that?
I don't think it's that bad, is it?
I don't know. I don't remember, but I felt like that's
3-1.
Yo, that's see, that's
Man.
hell nah. I have to fight everybody every time I wake up and walk down the street.
Or switch sides.
Nah, what?
Do you think maybe that's why that seems to be though? Like,
Yo, I didn't think about that. Yo, that's real. It is like that, right?
mean,
That makes sense.
we're over here making
Damn.
assumptions and generalizations and
Yo,
shit.
that makes sense.
But...
Yo.
Or do you think that the ratio is that way because they say, hey, let's go live out there?
No, I think that's right. Like what you like, both.
We're just both just guessing and
Both.
shit. Like, yeah, we're gonna go to like Christmas parties and just pass this shit off as fact now. Like, reports show actually that, because we
Yeah.
heard it on Don't At Me.
Yo, nah, for real though. I think he did say something like 74 and 26%.
That's rough.
But that does make sense though, cause like it's a lot of gays out there.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, yeah. No, hey.
True.
No offense.
Nah, no offense, but I mean, like, that's
I feel like that's the other
true.
thing we always have to say. I just said no offense, but nah. I mean, but again,
that's another thing though about people these days too. Like how we have to say no offense. Like, damn, we're just talking. Like, I mean, that was true, right? In some type of way, even if
they're
it's
at least
not.
corollary.
Yeah. I mean, what's wrong with us?
Well, everybody just gets so offended all the time.
Gotta
And I
stop
think we
doing
know. Yeah, well, I think the biggest
that.
reason
That's people.
people don't really ever consider intent. People just, and I guess it goes back to like, you text, you have to throw an LOL in there to let people know, like, hey, I'm not being direct and a dick, even though like
'cause
I
you can't get no
am.
tone on text.
Or maybe you're not. Maybe you just say something that's just like very straightforward, like, oh, this might read kind of direct, even though, or short, But it's kind of that same thing. I feel like nobody really considers the sender, the message, like the sender of the message, what their intent is. They don't read into that. They don't read into, and I say they, but really all of us, we, because sometimes I'll catch myself like, I don't like how that read, and then I'm like, I'll catch myself, and I'm like, nah, don't think that way. But I mean, so often you got to consider, all right, what mindset are they in right now? What are they actually trying to say? Am I being a bitch? Am I being sensitive? Reading into
What's
this
the
too much?
situation? Like, first of all,
But people don't ever say that. I think it's part of it's just this like, if I.
Do you think people don't elaborate much in their texts?
I think that I don't think elaboration is really
I think
meant
people
for
should
text.
just call if it's something like it dependent, like if it's important, like, or if it's something you need to like say,
Yeah.
and you like don't want to write like fucking paragraphs and shit like that.
Yeah.
You should just call.
Well,
You
and
know?
to your point, I think kind of like Twitter, I think texting is intended for short messages, for spurts.
Right.
It's not intended. Look, 160 characters.
We didn't get 240 characters. It was 140 on Twitter and shit earlier. We didn't get 280 till
recently.
recently.
2 years ago, 3 years
2
ago?
years ago, some shit like
Everything feels like 2 years ago. It's probably like 6 years ago now. But
that.
I think it really was like 2
it
years
was
ago.
like 2 years ago.
Um,
But yeah, like 160. That was like one fucking text
SMS.
message, and then like it will go to the next one.
Yeah.
you get
break
charged
up that way.
twice.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so to your point, yeah, I think that it's meant to be short. But the thing is that people now, maybe there's some people like me, I way prefer texting to phone calls. Because I like to multitask. I like to be able to text you something. I could set it down, look back at what I'm doing. Or like, you know what I mean? Like, if it's something that's going to be long, I could try to spit it out, and then just set it out. Because I text fast, too. I'm pretty efficient.
Uh-huh.
But I'm like, I don't... Because people just ramble when they get on the phone. And I don't want to deal with the rambling. I want, like, here's the message. Here's all the info. You know, I'm a master of, is this textable?
You
Then
gotta
text
start answering the phone like them niggas on the movies. Be like, you got 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, shit like that.
Go.
You know?
Yeah.
And they'll just get it out
Fine.
there.
Go. You get 2 minutes.
You know?
But, I mean, and I know, look, that goes back to the patience thing. Just being patient with people. But time is a major commodity right now.
Yeah.
Always. Not right now. Like, it's always been, you know. But especially now because I think you just look at the relative nature of it. Because we can do so much more in each amount of time. And our attention spans are so much shorter. I think our perception of time is far different from what it used to be.
Right. I don't like that. I felt like this world's weird. Like, do you ever feel like we're working for somebody else? Like,
I mean,
everyone?
we all are. Yeah, we
Like-
all are.
like-
In theory, we all are.
Yeah, like, it's so weird to think about. And, like, how we were saying, like, what if this shit was just, like, a game? Like, on, like, Men in Black, you know, at the end of that shit? Like, there was just
Yeah.
some, like, game of marbles. Like, man, that shit's, like, crazy.
It's mind blowing when you think about it. It is funny because Netflix recently put The Matrix on the list,
Right.
and I mean I've seen that movie a million times, but I honestly hadn't seen it probably for like a decade.
The first one?
Yeah, maybe even longer than that. I'm talking like I had probably a BlackBerry last
The
time.
first time I ever saw that shit, like, was at Joe crib.
Yeah, I remember my dad was really into it because he's a big sci-fi guy. But the first time, I haven't seen it like since at least '08, like at least, right? And I don't. It's so freaking weird watching it now because it's in many ways not relatable at all, and in many ways like extremely relatable, like scary relatable. It's just so. For example, like the technology of it seems a little bit dated. It doesn't seem as dated as I would have thought. That shit was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
If you watch it, it doesn't really look 20 years old. I won't say that it looks 2 years old, but it doesn't feel like it's 20 years old. I mean, think about when The Matrix came out. That was 20 years after Star Wars came out. You know? That felt old as shit, relatively speaking.
Right.
So, like 20 years ago, that was one thing I felt like, okay, this hasn't aged very poorly. Parts of it have, like, I mean, they all have flip phones, and sure, we're going back, but it's different. It's not, you know, it's a very archaic looking flip phone, you know?
Yeah.
But like the motifs, the idea behind it, it seems like we're honestly headed towards that. And almost seems conceivable that we could actually be in that just because of how bizarre shit is. I mean, I just think back on 2016. I feel like you can make a documentary about the year 2016 just from like all kinds of things that happen, you know, from elections to sports, like the Cubs winning the World Series. Things that you're just like, if somebody told you 20 years before that this was going to happen, you'd be like, nah,
Get the fuck out
what are you
of
talking
here.
about?
Yeah.
So it kind of gives some credence to this thought that, okay, maybe this is all just some crazy simulation.
Yeah, man, it's like a fucking experiment or some shit, too. Because, like, shit does get, like, wilder and wilder every day. And it's like, man, you think about, like, back in, like, the Roman times and shit, like, they got like all like fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit didn't like last. You know.
Well, and that, every big empire has its fall. And like
I think that the fall's coming, man. Like.
So what is your thought? So here's something I'm kind of thinking. Like, I think that nature will kind of calm itself down. I almost have more of a theory that like I just talked about.
Some shit gonna fuck
No, I don't know. I don't know how it'll end. But what I think will happen is we're so overpopulated, and I think we might be seeing it a little bit now with a lot of, I guess, gender curiosity. Is that PC to even say the words gender curiosity or whatever you want to call it? Like,
I don't know.
That's way more prominent now than it has been, or at least it's way more public, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how prominent it was.
Way more public. Because like I said, like the Romans and shit, weren't they like all like just doing like orgies and shit? Like,
yeah, but I think I mean more like the
little boy head and shit. Yeah.
That shit's no, we laugh, but like that shit's real.
Yeah.
Like they would talk about that. Like Socrates would be like, "We grabbed a pretty little boy." Or something. Like, no, this is real shit. But I'm not talking necessarily about sexual curiosity. I'm talking about like gender curiosity. Like, oh, what do I identify as? Am I male, female, somewhere in between? I feel like it's way more prominent now, like undeniably. But I don't know if it's more prominent now and we just didn't know about it before, but I have to feel like it's more prominent now. Right?
I don't know. I think this is like some new shit, bro.
That's what I mean. Like, it's like new. Like, I mean, how many Caitlyn Jenners were popping up 20 years ago? Like,
I mean, there was RuPaul, but we knew she was a guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
now I'm talking about like people go all the way like operational. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is I think what's happening is nature's already kind of like making us. I mean, look, we talked about
evolving.
This. Maybe so. Look, we talked about it last time with Antonio about in certain animal kingdoms, like in primates. Penis size, testicle size will vary based on like level of competition. Now that's not something I think that happens like with one generation. It's not generational, but it's evolutionary.
Every time you beat somebody's ass, you gain an inch and shit.
You're the king of the mountain.
Yeah.
You kill it, you just that'd actually be some kind of a twisted like adult cartoon. Not like adult, but you know what I mean? Like not made for kids. Anyway, always getting off the tracks.
Oh shit.
So what I think could be happening is, we're becoming less. People are reproducing less. Like nature's going to kind of make us desire reproduction less over time, which will kind of control the population. It's kind of a natural response, and I think we kind of see that. A lot of the correlation, at least, would lead me to believe, okay, that is something that's possibly happening.
Right.
Now, you're thinking more, I guess the other theories would be, are we going to become so overpopulated that we kill each other? Like, is that the fall?
I think we're going to kill each other.
Or do you think it's like a technology, like AI, like, like robots?
No, I think it's going to be us before it'll be anything else.
I think I agree. And I don't think that artificial intelligence, like, I don't think, like, there's a lot of people that think Terminator is going to happen. Like, it's a matter of when, not if. I don't know about all that. Like, I feel like there's always gotta be...
you seen that fucking robot shit I sent to the...
Hey, they're cold, man. Hey, they got hands, though. I will say, like, they could beat us in hand-to-hand combat. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Yeah,
like Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a different story. But anyway, there's gonna be some kind of a kill switch. We could always.
I think it's gonna be like a civil war soon, bro. Like within the next like 4 years.
But I think I'm not against your. I'm on the same page with you with like I think people will do it first. Like Terminator, I think is possible, but a lot of people make it seem.
I think that the Terminator
imminent.
angle is gonna come from people. Some group of people is gonna be using those type of robots for their side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how like they use the droid army for like the separatists and shit like that. On Star Wars, like it's gonna be some shit like that, and they just gonna turn on the motherfuckers.
I don't know. So now you think that you don't think people will blow each other?
Well, I think it's gonna start with people being at war. You know what I'm saying?
So
with one another.
But you ultimately do think AI will take over?
Because I mean they got that shit now. Like people got to use it, and that's war's always like the thing that make you use some shit. You know what I'm
here's
saying?
something thought-provoking, shocking, coming from me, I know. Do you think it'll be robots, or do you think it'll be like cyborg? Like, do you think it's going to be more of like enhanced humans with robot technology stuff that ends up, like, do you think that's going to happen before? Like, what do you think will happen first? The cyborg type thing or robots? We sound like some kids talking about this shit.
Robots.
But it's a real question.
Nah, straight robots.
Next question.
Alright.
At what point, if we do go down the cyborg path, it's kind of like...
It's already cyborgs out here, man.
To a
People
certain
like,
extent, yeah.
Kim Kardashian, fucking... Like, all of them, you know?
Implants,
Jenner,
knee replacements.
Bruce Jenner, they whole family. That's a cyborg family right there.
Enhanced.
That's weird how I didn't even think about like they were related when I was naming them. I was just naming people,
Yeah, it's
man.
true, right?
Like,
Yeah.
fuck.
But at what point then does somebody? It's like that old metaphor with
did
the
you ask
ship.
me the part two?
This is part two.
Oh, all right.
So like a boat. Let's say you take a boat, right? You take off
Motorboat.
the piece. You take off one piece at a time and replace it with a new piece. At what point is it a new boat? You know that old, anecdote. You've heard that one before,
Yeah.
right?
No, I've never heard that one before,
So-
but I get it.
If the ship is completely new parts, no original parts, is that a new boat?
Nah, it depends on how like new the parts are.
Brand new. Let's say shit's from 1800s, but now the pieces are from 2019. Like they just finished
it's
this
a new
year.
boat.
At what point did it become a new boat?
When it was finished.
That's the question. It was. So your thing is when it's completely finished is when it's a new boat.
Yeah.
So if there's one last piece of that 1800 boat left on it, it's still that boat. There's no right or wrong answer. I'm just trying to understand your take on it. It's hard, right?
Yeah. See, I don't know, man. You blowing my mind now. Fuck.
Well, to that same point,
Uh-huh.
do you think that AI will come from some kind of a judgment day, right? Like doomsday, where all of a sudden AI becomes self-aware and then or is it going to be the boat analogy where we're going to have cyborg technology, all this kind of stuff that, look, we got Apple Watches, we got our location on us at all times with our cell phone, Black Mirror, right? People talking about microchips and shit like that. I'm not even talking government conspiracy. I'm thinking more like, is it going to get to the point where we become so hand in hand with technology that we become one and the same, and that is, evolution?
It could be. I mean, if that shit happened, the first thing I'll do is get like my right hand turned into a Glock, like straight up, and then like I don't know, like my leg maybe like an AR or some shit. I'm just gonna be
2 guns. Oh, like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
What was that Grindhouse movie?
Yeah.
Like, was it
Like
Rose
her.
McGowan, right?
Yeah.
So I always thought, I don't know why I thought this way, but I have like this
It'll
little
be like RoboCop.
just your face.
Yeah. He could just have like this part of his face. and
Just
the
his
rest of
mouth.
him. Hell yeah.
That'd be a good question. Would you rather go like Sub-Zero, like your eyes and forehead, or would you rather go like him, like
Probably,
just your mouth?
probably my mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Mouthpiece.
Yeah. Gotta have that.
So the cyborg thing, talking some crazy shit now. At what point though would you say that you have become, like, is that evolution? Would you say that, do you think that's possible before there's like a judgment day?
Like being a complete cyborg.
Well, like you're taking on cyborg parts, and then all of a sudden, at what point are you now a new life form? At what point are you? We're talking deep shit now, like way too much. But just something I was curious about with
Like,
the boat analogy, because
when-
I've thought this before.
When like my
At its
I don't
core,
know.
at its core,
probably when my conscience is gone.
conscience. So
Yeah, and then I'll be dead. So then it wouldn't be like no
So is that
new me.
heart or brain? You're saying
I don't
conscience. I
know.
guess that's more brain. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
maybe-
brain, but like
Maybe
so.
it's a combination of things. You know,
Because what truly is conscience,
right? You know,
But you know, just like Westworld though. Like I think that's kind of the premise of the show.
I've never watched that show.
Well, the premise, you know, it's robots. Do
Yeah.
you know the premise?
Yeah, I seen that movie.
Movie.
Yeah, it was a movie that came out with like Yul Brynner or some shit like that.
Who?
Some old fucker.
Probably the same thing.
Nah,
but-
it is like kind of I think the same thing, but like the old cowboy, he like take over and he starts trying to kill the motherfuckers and shit.
I have to check it out.
Yeah, that's how.
I mean, it's cool. It's a cool. I know the show is a remake, so maybe it's the same shit you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, it's good, but it's also kind of got weird parts. I don't know. But I won't give you any spoilers. First season I liked. I didn't actually watch the second one, which I think is kind of an indictment on the show that I wasn't like, yes, I must watch it.
Yeah.
But it did have its shining moments. But basically, humans go into this, you know, amusement park that's AI, you
Right.
know, and then, you know, shit starts going off the rails, and the AI start like, what is conscience? What is, you know, and then they kind of just merge, you know what I mean? And then they're like one and the same.
I think
I
you
think
merge like fuck.
some of them, yeah, no, for real, because they're like androids, like it's almost the exact same, like you don't know any different kind of
Word.
thing. Yeah, so people would do that on the show, but kind of the same concept, same theory, technology. It's
And
crazy.
then what happened after that?
I don't know. Like they get attached. There's like a love stories and shit, but that's what plays into like the conscience part of it. Like what is a
That's
conscience?
just wow. We need to hit up Westworld.
Westworld shit. I'll drop you off. You know, I'll come back if it gets war
Hell no.
riddled.
That shit sounds terrible, man. I'd never go to no fucking like futuristic amusement park type shit. Fuck that shit. I seen Jurassic Park and all that shit.
It's that human hubris. Just
Yeah,
start
shit
trying to be
fucks up.
God. People try to start playing God.
Yo, I remember when I was in high school, this kid, like, he was like Asian. He was like weird. Nobody really even like fucked with him and shit. But this nigga fell off like a roller coaster or some shit. Got paid.
Oh yeah, wasn't it the mind bender?
Some shit.
The
I don't
mind
know
bender,
what
the indoor?
fuck, but this nigga got fucking paid, man. So shout out to that kid. I forgot his fucking name, but damn.
Imagine how scary, especially that one.
Yo, because that shit is, like, I remember the last time riding that shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that was, like, the ride you, like, ride to get, like, freaky and shit with the hoes, you know? Well, with the female girls at the time. And, they were hoes, though. Trust me. Like, it was just a light, bro. It was just, like, one light. And, like, you were just like, what the fuck are you doing in here? Like, I think that shit just went in circles, bro.
It did. It was kind of like a upward, like a Christmas tree, like a cone. I don't want to say cone, but you know what I mean, like a spiral.
Shit. Yeah.
Kinda like it would go up, and then I think it would kind of spit you out at the end. Shit was pretty fun. But
Yeah, it was, but like still, this shit was like kind of fucking
scary. Hell yeah.
If I would have fell off that bitch, I would have. Oh no, I would have been out of there. For real.
Did I ever tell you about the time, like the first time I like really broke in on roller coasters?
Nah, I don't think so.
All right, so I don't know why I was afraid. I don't know if are we just naturally afraid of that shit because we're not used to it. It's
What,
like
like
an
the
unnatural.
inertia and shit like that.
Yeah, like
I mean,
were
it's just
you,
a weird feeling.
like were you just like
I was never scared of them and shit. Like I didn't cry. You know?
I don't think I ever really cried, but I was just like, I don't want to do that shit. That looks terrifying. And I remember the first time I rode a roller coaster was the Viper at Astroworld, which I feel like is pretty good entry level. There's one loop. The loop was the scary part.
I want to say mine was Excalibur.
Accelerate, you mean? Is that the one that just spins in that tube?
Nah, that was the
XLR8 Accelerate.
yeah. I remember that one, but nah, this shit was called Excalibur. It was like
I
more
remember that.
before
But it
Serial
wasn't.
Thriller was there.
Astroworld though?
Yeah, it was Astroworld. Before Serial Thriller was there,
Okay.
it was the ride that was there. It was red.
So that was your first one. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
actually kind of cool, full circle. So
But I think I wrote all of them though at the same time though.
okay, but
After
that was like the one.
the first
though.
one though. Yeah.
All right, then this will be full circle. So, first one I rode was the Viper, and I'm like, okay, that's a
Uh-huh.
cool entry level. You know, one loop,
is.
kind of scary, but you
Right.
know, it's in that tunnel. You know, I probably 8, 9
I remember
years
that.
old.
I remember that ride vividly, man. It was only like 28 8 seconds long
Yeah.
type shit. Like,
That was a good one. It was a quick, good, fun one. You know, you just hop on. There's the one loop.
yeah, I feel like it wasn't never really aligned to that shit either.
I know, ever. Yeah. Now that I think about it, it was almost kind of felt like it was like a carnival.
I felt like that was
Like
like
it was
sometimes
caged
the
off like
first
a
one
carnival ride.
we went to. Anytime we go, like
Yeah.
we used to go all the time, bro. That shit was like our
know.
babysitter.
It really was. That's why they shut the shit
Like,
down.
They just drop us out there, bro, and like chunk dudes.
That's why they shut the shit down.
Cause like, bro, that
It's
shit
like
was only like
$50.
$50, bro,
For
like
the
for the
year.
whole year. Like that's crazy. Like it's a good 10 like weeks in the summer.
Right.
Like in the summer alone, you know, that shit's open at least like 15, 16 weeks out the summer.
Yeah.
You know?
So, rode the Viper, and I was scared shitless. I think I was like 7, maybe 8 years old. I don't remember how old I was, but I was like, man, I don't know about this shit. I'm out. Next thing you know, a couple years later, I'm at Astroworld. Funny enough, of all places. Like, why even go there if you're not gonna ride the shit? But I was
Right.
like, whatever, I'll go. And I went with Alan. Shout out Alan. He's gonna be on one of the very soon episodes. He's got plenty of gripes to get into.
For sure.
He does. He's got a whole docket and
That
shit.
nigga fired up the whole fucking
The whole shit.
the whole shit.
He basically put the episode out on text.
For real.
But we go to Astroworld and he's like, let's ride rides. And I'm like, I'm good. He's like, the fuck are we doing here then? What do you mean you're good? I'm like, nah. So I'm like, you know what? I'll ride some. So I did ride some. But I was like, there's some that I refuse to ride. Like, he was like, let's do Serial Thriller. And I'm like, hell no,
Well, this shit
never.
was tight. The line was just always long.
Well, so we look over and it's shut down. And I'm like, yes. And I'm telling him I'll ride, like, the bitch rides. And he's like, whatever. He's like, if it opens up, though, will you ride it? And I was like, hell yeah. Because I'm like, that shit's not going to open. Like, that shit's closed. Why would they just randomly open it, right? And so, like, at some point, I look over. And I'm like, oh, wait. I see some tracks. I see it running on the tracks. And there's nobody in it, so I'm like, maybe they're just testing it, right? About 10 minutes later, I look back over. People in it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, my God. And we start walking, and it was, like, over... It was to my left. Alan was to my left, and over his shoulder was Serial Thriller. He's looking my direction, so he doesn't see it. We're walking, and he's just looking around. And I see his head start turning, and it looks that way. I was like, oh, God damn it. And, of course, Mike, it's running. I was like, oh, no.
Ah, shit.
So we go over there, and I, man of my word, I was like, man, I'm scared shitless, but, like, I'm true. I'm real. So we rode it, and my neck hurt like fuck afterwards. You have to keep a stiff neck riding that shit. But otherwise, I liked it. So that broke me in, and I started riding roller coasters all the time.
For real? So I don't ever remember being like afraid of them. Like I said, I remember the first one I rode. I remember the first time taking Chase on one because I remember we got dropped off, and he was probably maybe about like 6 years old, and I was probably like 9 some shit. My sister was in high school already, and I was probably a little bit older than 9. Yeah, I was probably like 11 at the time. Yeah, because I'm 5 years older than him, and my sister was in like high school and shit already. Dude, like, we rode his first was the Texas Cyclone. So, like, after we rode that shit, I'm like, bet. We went on fucking everything,
Cyclone was cool.
bro.
I didn't mind riding
Like,
Cyclone.
at first I was like, fuck. I'm like kind of stuck with him, like, but I'm like, hey, ride this ride with me. And shit, it wasn't that bad. The Cyclone's like old school, like, you just sit in the fucking cart. It's not that bad, but after that, he wasn't like scared or nothing about it. So I was like, bet, like, hell yeah, we about to ride everything. I used to like that Batman shit.
That was
fucking
the best.
Grease Lightning.
It really wasn't that fun, but it was cool because it was like the Batman
walk-through.
Returns.
Yeah, like when you walk through that shit,
you're like
yeah.
standing. It was like a weird
like,
like
in the movie.
orientation. Yeah.
Yo, it's this place here that like you go to it, you like pretty much in a movie. You seen that shit?
Nah, what's it called?
It's like in the marquee or some shit. It's like I don't know, movie something. I don't fucking know. I gotta look it up, but like that shit look dope. I don't know why I thought about that.
I gotta look
Maybe
into
'cause-
that shit. Speaking of movies, last episode we talked about Beyonce. We talked about her having this long run, and then you brought up like, hey Mike, remember like she was like the first, like you were like, man, she fine, she black, and it was like the red pill. I said like it opened my eyes to like a whole nother world, right? It wasn't Beyonce though. She wasn't the first.
Movietopia, by the way.
Movietopia.
Yeah. Oh, she wasn't the first?
Nah. You know who it was? Think back. Mid-90s. She also had a role in a movie with Method Man and Redman in like 03.
Oh, shit. Fucking,
Lars Voorhees.
Yeah, motherfucking, what was her name?
Man.
In fucking Saved by the Bell?
I forget. That's, yeah. Yeah, that's her.
Yeah, her.
I forget her name. But yeah, no, that was the first one. That was like, damn. So then, like, where is she on the Pantheon?
She like she like crazy or some shit nowadays.
What?
Yeah, she like out of there.
Well, fuck current version. We're not talking like longevity of this person's career. We're talking like MVP season.
You gotta give a year like that though.
Okay,
like,
MVP season then. MVP season.
You know, like
at their peak.
Well, okay, you know how like there's like 9-6 Jordan. You know, it's like there's fucking 2007 LeBron.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. Yeah, well, but it's hard to think
Kobe.
of the specific year
well, not
of
98
the
Kobe,
actress.
Like 2003 Kobe.
I know what you mean, but like, let's just say like at their peak, okay? So like Lars Voorhees at her peak, where is she Pantheon? You had a concept gun to your head with Joy Taylor and Paula Patton.
Okay, well,
let's throw Lars Voorhees in the mix.
In the mix, gun to my head. Nah, bro, I gotta stick with Joy Taylor, bro. Come on.
That was a test.
That
was a test.
You tripping.
But like, if we're gonna put the Pantheons together, where are they ranking at?
Well, first of all, you gotta tell me what the fuck a Pantheon is.
Yeah, so
that's what I've been thinking about the whole time. That's why I had no answer. Like, what the fuck is a Pantheon?
It's like the different levels of the pyramid, right? You have your different levels, right? Like, the top level is like that's the elite. Then you have like your secondary, tertiary, that kind of thing, right? Okay. Another one that came to mind was it Nicole Kidman the other day that I said was underrated. Not that she's like that high up there, but like
Nicole Kidman was like the baddest in Batman Forever, bro.
Is that her peak? You think? I kind of feel like I like modern day Nicole Kidman.
Word.
I think like Nicole Kidman pulls off cougar very well.
Oh yeah, for sure. She always been like bad, like for real. She been like bad for like a good 30 years, bro. Like straight up.
It's been a long run. That's the opposite side of the coin. Not like, okay, let's talk about that. I mean,
there's
longest runs for she's up
bro,
there.
Bro, Christy
Demi
Brinkley is out there, bro. Like
yeah.
I ran across her on Instagram, bro.
Yeah, that's just like an automatic winner than technicality.
Jane Fonda sometimes, bro. Like I be like, yo,
Christy Brinkley
Jane Fonda,
is
get it.
Bill Russell.
Jane Seymour, the fucking mom from Wedding Crashers.
Oh, the medicine woman.
Yeah.
Dr. Quinn.
Dr. Quinn.
See, so Christy Brinkley wins from just like, I guess if you're gonna look at like Bill Russell, like he has the most rings, but I don't think many people think he was the greatest. Like he's not MJ.
Right.
But like she gets it because she's probably like what 65, 70 now.
She up there.
She's something like that. But like Demi Moore, where does she rank? Because that, I mean, Pantheon all time long runs. That one is that's a career.
Yeah.
That's like Barry Bonds.
Demi Moore a freak too. You know it. She was like making it's some video from some show she used to be on. I forgot what the fuck show it was, but it was like some like kid's birthday. He was like on the show and shit. She's like making out with him and shit. I swear to God. I swear to God, you gotta look that shit up.
I feel like peak Demi Moore was Beavis and Butthead Do America.
The voice?
Man. And just like the character that she played.
Nah, nigga, striptease, nigga.
Yeah, nah. I mean, it's kind of a joke, but like, yeah.
Striptease, for sure.
Obvious. That was the peak. That was like, that wasn't fair.
I ain't gonna lie, bro.
That was it.
Let's get some jag in. Used to be jag time when striptease was on, bro. Yo, that and what's the other one, bro?
Showgirls.
With Showgirls, yeah, with the girl from fucking Saved by the Bell.
I don't think I've seen that like in its entirety.
Let's get my jag on that too, bro.
The funny thing is, like, imagine watching that on like
Purnell
TNT.
in that movie and shit.
Purnell. Yeah. Imagine that shit if they had like a TNT version of that. It's like 45 minutes. Like there's nothing in it.
That shit is just a bunch of recycled ass scenes. They would not put that on there. Julia Roberts in that category. Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, I'll give Sandra Bullock yes. Julia Roberts overrated to me.
You think so?
I just feel like she's just so inconsistent.
Emma Roberts bad.
Ooh. Speaking of, Olsen twin pantheon, not even close. Give me Scarlet Witch 10 times out of 10. Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, top tier for me, if it's so many, man. Like, it's so many.
See,
bro.
but that's also why you do a pantheon, because you do like, these are my top 3 in no particular order. These are my top, from the next level. These are the 5 that fit into that group. From the next level, these are the.
But I mean, like,
we have to come back to that.
It's
we
still
have to.
So many.
It
bro.
is.
Like,
it
I
is.
don't even think I can even rank them like that.
I know,
fam.
me neither.
Like,
we'll have to do.
If I can have a haram, bro, what do you call that? A
Harambe.
A haram?
What's that?
It's like, well, these, like, bunch of the Middle Eastern dudes, they have, like, a bunch of bitches and shit.
What?
It's called a haram or some shit like that.
Okay.
Hold on, let me look that shit up real quick, because I don't want to be wrong on that.
Somebody will
that's
add
one
us.
thing.
You can add us about that. Y'all can correct us.
That's one thing I don't want to be. Hold on, let me make sure I'm getting this is right. 'Cause it may be like some. Wait, I don't fucking know. Maybe this is wrong, man.
Great podcast material.
But anyway, yo, if I could just have like a stable or like 100 of them, like it'll probably take
Like
me
the all times.
It'll take me a week to put that together.
We
and
should.
then I'd have to fly them all out and shit. Like
the showdown. That's gonna be the 1,000th episode. We'll have one of them guest
Yo.
on there. I actually had. Let me pull you back to what we were talking about earlier with technology and all that. So our theory of time is relatively shorter now, which a couple of reasons why. First of all, time's relative, but I remember a teacher told me some shit when I was like 10 that I was like, man, like I'm way too young
Mr.
to
Trotter?
like. Now I don't remember who it was, but I was like, I am way too
Mr.
young
Trotter.
to be woke now, like on this level. But she was like, time feels shorter as you get older because, in theory, it is. Like each year that passes is fractionally slimmer than the previous year.
Right.
When you turn 1 year old, that was 100% of your life.
You know, this is the youngest you're ever gonna see me again.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird, bro? Like, that's
and we're
crazy.
both dying.
Yeah.
Both of us. We're running out of time.
That's wild, man.
But no, and then like when you're 2, your second birthday, that is the year that passed is now half of your life.
Right.
The next year it's a third, and it just keeps getting slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. Shit, now we're looking at like 3.3%. Every year that passes, like 3.3% of our lives. So when you're like, it relative, you're like, damn, that was a year ago, and you're like, well, yeah, I mean,
smaller.
It does.
Smaller.
It does.
Smaller.
It does. But why did I bring that up? She
I
told me that, then I was just like,
I want
damn.
to live to at least 100, man, so I could be like, yo, I got everything like equally. You know what I'm saying? Like every year my life was kind of equal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I mean, look, we don't know
I
what
don't
we're
give
gonna
a fuck
say
what I am,
when we're
right?
like 75. Like you don't know what your perspective is.
Know.
Maybe. I almost feel more like, let me enjoy the shit now, man. I don't. Shit changes though when you have like kids and family and all that. Like
I ain't gonna lie, man. I've been thinking like I want kids. Like anybody like need a surrogate
Looking?
dad.
Anybody looking?
For real, I'm serious. It's like this ain't even like a joke or anything. Like
You just need a girlfriend that you can gal up.
yeah, I guess so, man.
All right, but what I was gonna say, pulling you back to technology and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You've been saving this theory. I'm sorry to force your hand this soon, but why not? It fits. You've been having this theory. I'm gonna wait. Watch. I'm gonna hold on to this one. That we peaked in 2011. So the reason it made me think about that is that, look, I just mentioned 20 years. Look, 20 years ago was The Matrix.
Right.
That feels like maybe 10 years ago. Because 20 years before The Matrix was Star Wars, that feels like it was like 30 years before, like...
Always.
I mean, just it's shorter, but I feel like that kind of fits into what your theory of
like
us
how if
peaking.
you ask someone like when was 1980, you're like 20 years ago. You
think about
I still
think that.
And shit,
I still think that. Yeah, I still think that.
All right, but like, so I got this theory that we've been stuck for like, I mean, for a while since like 2000. I would say we peaked in 2011. That's my theory, that we peaked in like 2011, and then everything got regressive after that. Like we were progressive, and then like a regression started. And I think that that's like the start of like the idiocracy that we live in like now. You know what I mean? And like it actually kind of makes sense. Well, like there's evidence to support it. In 2011, we were on like the big three. Everyone was on them by then. Like, you know what I mean? Twitter, fucking, well, big four, I guess. Well, not big three. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You know, what else is there out there?
On social media?
Yeah.
In 2011?
Yeah, that was like it, right?
Vine, maybe?
Yeah,
Was Vine around?
Maybe. You know, but those were...
And that was the best one, and it disappeared? Anyway. Different
But,
don't happen.
like, we still have Twitter, Facebook, and fucking Instagram. Like, still, right now. Like, nothing has changed from that. And also, I don't know, like, just in 2011, that's kind of like when, like, the Tea Party shit started. You know what I mean? Like, and, well, actually, it was, like, 2010. But, like, we kind of been, like, regressing in, like, race relations since then. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's getting just like weird out here, and like I don't know. I had this theory for like maybe like 2 or 3 years actually, and I don't know that there's shit to support it. I just gave you a couple of them. What do you think about that shit?
Well, technologically, we have advanced like much more. You know, I was just talking.
Shit's gotten faster, but
like maybe
still
2011.
iPads, tablets.
Yes, but we also now have, like, you know, virtual reality. We have...
We kind of had that back then, though.
Kind of, but not what we have now. But I will say this. I do feel like it's overrated, where people are like, oh, virtual reality is so real. It's like, I mean, relatively, yeah, but this shit's still, like, you know that shit's not real, you know? I know that you have, like, your body will have that phenomenon where, like, if something swings at you, you might back up. I mean, just like the same thing. Have you ever heard of the phantom hand or whatever it is? Where, like, you can hide your hand under a desk, but then put, like, a fake hand above the desk where your hand should be, and then people can poke it, and you'll kind of, like, feel it, you know, like, that,
what?
Yeah, like, you know, the mind plays tricks on you.
Fucking weird, man.
But
yeah, I know the feeling.
But, you know, like, you might, that part feels real, but you can still pick up, like, okay, I'm not in reality, I'm in virtual reality, like, I know this shit is fake.
Right.
So, I mean, that maybe I can see... for phones, they've gotten better, you know, they've gotten faster.
Still the same fucking hardware, pretty much. Better software.
Yeah, somewhat. But the other thing
Same
that we've
design.
changed, the other ways we've changed though is just
The
our
interface is the same.
I mean,
you know,
yeah,
like,
but the interface. Well, look at like the touch phones that can fold. I mean, that's crazy.
I mean, maybe we're
technology.
just now kind of going into something new, but I think that we kind of
Maybe.
peaked in 2011.
But I mean, you also think about like now how much more quickly we could process information and data, and we know how to use it. And I mean, shit, California.
But I mean,
now,
that's a given. I mean, that's always gonna happen. Like, you know, like the more like data and shit, like that shit's always. Bro, remember when those little 8 gigabyte fucking like thumb drives and shit like that? Those used to be like $40 and shit.
Oh, I know.
Now they're like $2.
Because we advanced though.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, like that shit's bound to happen. Like the memory and shit like that. That's bound to like. I mean, you can't regress on that shit.
So are you feeling that we have? I mean, you said things.
I'm just saying, like, kind of, like how we still have like iPhones, like how
versus
like
we have
having
Apple Watches now.
that nigga. We had that shit on Power Rangers. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how fucking Zordon and Alpha 5 used to get in touch.
So
with
what are your expectations then of 2019? Where we should
I think
be?
that shouldn't we be like a little further than where we are right now?
Do you have any like ideas? Like
okay, all right. So think about the 10 years before that. So think of think about 2001. What do we have in 2001? Like, do we even have an iPod yet?
No.
We didn't have that till like 2003, right?
I think
2004, right?
something like that. 2001. I mean, that was right after Y2K, year 2000. I mean, there really wasn't much. It was
See, yeah. As a matter of fact, they didn't even know. that the fucking clocks was just gonna
PDQ.
change. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, the reason behind that though,
because
is
they
a
didn't
lot of
program that shit.
Yeah, but like PDQ, remember that was like the fast internet PDQ. And then
Nah, 'cause
AOL.
I ain't know nothing about no fast internet till like 2011. You know what I mean? Like,
I still don't know anything about any fast internet, but I don't know. I mean, like there are. I guess I'd be curious to hear where you think we should be now.
I mean, I think that like there should be way more Tesla like competitors than just Porsche right now.
Well, part
You know
of that
what
is
I'm saying? Like,
economics, though, because the big thing with Tesla is just more so in the way that they're selling the vehicles. It's just straight from a seller. It's not like there's no dealership.
But I mean, like I'm saying, like Ford and GM and like them motherfuckers, like
Well, they
should've
have
been-
electric, and they're moving towards that. And in fact, they think that by 2023 or 2025, probably 80%, I think.
But they
And
should-
I'm
they
kind of
should've done by, like,
paraphrasing the stats.
2020 though, for real. I mean, that should have been like.
Well, but also part of it is
roll it out.
squeezing the market, though. So the manufacturers say, hey, we're going to sell these vehicles to dealerships. Because that's how it works. The dealership will get loans from the bank. They'll
Right.
use that to floor plan, buy the vehicles, basically pay the manufacturer back, or pay the banks back.
Mhm.
The way Tesla works is basically manufacturers selling it directly. So it cuts all that middleman out. So it's a different situation because you have your MSRP. They have to sell it at a higher price, and it's more of a you're gonna get it for what I want to sell it to you for, as opposed to like a retail environment where it's just like straight. Here's what I want. Here's your price point. Go.
But I'm just saying, like companies like Ford, GM, Dodge, whoever the fuck, like, shouldn't they be able to, like, if they have the technology, shouldn't they be able to undercut, like, what Tesla's doing? You know what I'm saying? By, like, selling, like,
But car
shittier
sales,
electric cars.
car sales were at a.
Because, I mean, there's Tesla and there's Prius, bro. Like,
But-
the Porsche just came out with the Taycan.
car sales were at an all-time high up until like last year, and they're like record-breaking years every year before that. It's kind of like planned obsolescence with phones. I mean, they keep selling more and more phones. It's like, well, if innovation isn't necessary, we'll
They're
hold
just keeping
back.
banking on it.
I mean, you see the bullshit. Once they release a new iOS, like, oh, my
and see,
phone
that's
just seems to
another
slow
thing.
down.
It's like they're holding off with some shit too. Like, I feel like a lot of these like big wigs and shit, like they're holding back on a lot of like
I
technology
agree with that.
we could have like on the consumer market because of money. Like, it's like they want to milk whatever they can for so long. Like, we should definitely like. I think we're pretty much going on like 100 years of having like cars with like not like these engines aren't that technology, but you know what I'm saying, like the prototypes to the engines that we ride today. Like, let's just start like 100 years ago, bro.
Oh, it's very
Like-
different though. Cars, the way they run now, very different.
I mean, yeah, but we were like that. Okay, what was it, 2019?
Yeah.
Nigga, in 1919, like they had like the Model T already, bro. Like they was like way past that, right? I'm pretty sure they had like.
So you
tanks in
expecting us to have
1919.
flying cars right now? Because also
We
that's
should.
that's a problem with
We
physics.
should.
That's a problem with physics because the only way to physically do it would be like jet propulsion. At least that's the only way we know of how to do it. Is basically shooting up like it's like a jetpack.
Right.
And I guess
We
that's
should have
what,
jetpacks by now.
we kind of do.
I mean,
You ever see those fools doing
I
that
see
shit on the
Jingle
lake?
All the Way. Remember that nigga had a jetpack?
Yeah, that whole outfit was thrown. It was too small for him though. That was too small for Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, that's a funny ass movie. That shit mad violent. They just whoop each
Shit,
other
man,
ass
I
the whole
know,
time.
I
Like,
know. It's kind of how it is now though.
yo,
You know what's different?
that
man?
shit way ahead of its time, bro.
Hey, movies were way. People always talk about video games and violence. And, movies were way more violent then. Like, I feel like Damon Wayans. Every movie he was in, people were getting shot in the head, point blank. Like his
No,
action movies.
It
You
was
know what I
like
mean?
One that he got shot in the head and shit.
Man.
With Adam Sandler.
Yeah, Bulletproof.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally like Bulletproof. He's shot in the head. Maybe not shot in the head, but think about Last Boy Scout, where the motherfucker shoots the guy in the football field.
Yeah.
Also in Last Boy Scout, other people getting popped in the head. Like He was in some violent movies. Blank Man.
Yeah, Blank Man.
Ah,
Yeah,
hey.
when they blow up the fucking mayor and shit,
Yeah.
like the whole building.
What the fuck Kevin Hart movie exists where people get
Bro,
shot in the
I
head?
said that's another thing, man. I'm tired of fucking PG-13, man. These kids are pussy, bro. PG-13, I think, has been like the thing ruining us for like the past like almost 20 years. I would say.
Ooh.
I would say PG-13 is what's making us pussy, bro. Cause we had like most of the movies I saw, bro, from the time I was like 2 to like 10, 11, were like rated R movies, bro. Like you were saying, like How to Be a Player, like fucking like. I don't know, like,
We
set
weren't
it off.
sheltered.
Like, we weren't sheltered at all, bro. Like, if the movie came out, nigga, we went to go watch that shit. Like, I remember one of the first horror movies I saw was Candyman, bro. That shit had to come out in, like, 92 or something like that. So I was, like, 3 years old. I remember seeing that shit, though. Because I remember, like, asking my sister to go, like, to the restaurant with me. Because
Right.
Candyman was probably in there, and I didn't want to have to hurt the nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Like, yo, like, I remember, like, but that kind of got me started on, oh, shit, I like scary movies. So anytime I went to Blockbuster, anything from then on, I got a scary movie. And then, like, I discovered, like, Halloween and, like, so they got the ball rolling on that shit. Because all I do with my cousin, like, Ray and shit, all we would do is watch scary movies. Like, Friday the 13th, shit like that. You know, those were, like, mad R's. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they were trying to
Yeah.
get it, like, not get an NC-17 shit.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and NC-17 was way more prominent in the past too. When was the last NC-17 movie?
I don't
That
think
you
I've ever,
remember,
like,
you know, that you even
remember a
remember.
NC-17 movie. I can't tell you.
Well, no, Showgirls. That one was.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
That's like the last mainstream one I could think of. I think there was one that maybe came out in like
Yo,
07.
that
like
shit
a
was
French
rated
movie,
right
like-
too, man. Because if I would have seen that shit at that time, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I probably would have been jagging in the theater then. Because that was like right around them days too. Like, well, it came out like 96, 97, something like that. Oh yeah, 8 years old. Yeah. That's when the
Advanced.
jagging. Yeah.
Hey, technology, you advance nowadays.
Yo, what's wild too, man? Like, you think like having porn at like our fingertips and shit too is like fucking us off too? Like just people in general, you think like we're getting like more and more sexual like at a younger and younger age? Like that's what I mean by fucking us off.
What do you mean by that?
Because,
Rephrase
like,
that.
Do you think like having more access to porn is like kind of another thing that's like kind of fucking off our society?
I think so. I mean, I think that it definitely changes our thoughts, like our perception, our respect of sex. It's, I mean, I'm trying to think of the right way to phrase this.
It's weird how like we're not like this in society. We're not prudish about like sex shit, but we're prudish about like people's feelings. You know what I'm saying?
That's true, but I will say this. I feel like we're less prude now than maybe 10 years ago. But I think that we talked about this before, where America...
In a way, but at the same time, I don't know. It's like a weird scale, bro.
Well, so I think that people are way more open talking about it now. Like, there's like almost nothing taboo about talking about sex. Every meme...
That's what I'm saying.
Every other
yeah,
meme
like,
incorporates sex.
Exactly.
So talking about
sex is like not even taboo now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like any type of whatever you're talking about is not fucking BDSM. Like remember that was going on years ago with fucking what's that weird ass fucking movie? 50 Shades of Grey shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like that's it's not sex isn't taboo, but like people's like feelings are, or like people's sexual orientation, or you know what I mean? Like
Right.
just that aspect of life. Period. Like people are taboo about that shit, or if they're not, they're like outraged. I mean, I don't know. I'm outraged about what I'm talking about right now. So, I don't know. I feel y'all.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's just... There's all these, like, weird, like, counterintuitive pieces to it. Like, people aren't afraid to talk about it, but...
But do you think this because like everyone can watch porn now?
Well, I
It's
think
not
that's what...
really,
Yeah, I think it desensitizes it quite a bit. I think it makes it to where it's more common that people just talk about it.
you don't
but-
gotta go to the library and do it.
Have you ever seen somebody actually do that? Like, they're watching over there in the corner
What?
shit?
Nah, bro. Like, we used to in like, bro. Okay, like 8th grade after you had left, bro. We used to put the proxies on the shit. That's when we learned that shit. Like, you know, and like go to like fucking like you know flick sites in the fucking library. You know.
Man,
So you
speaking
did
of
that
that
shit.
kind of shit, what's going on with these teachers hooking up with kids?
Yo,
man?
what were they at when like we were young, man?
This shit did not exist then.
Not at
least that,
all.
like now, You got every couple
The
weeks.
teachers weren't even like bad.
Now they're all like model-esque.
I know.
It's like
For
every
real.
other week there's another like.
Like anytime I go out, I like always meet a teacher. I'm like, you bullshit. And she's like, no. I'm like, no, okay.
That shit's wild though. I don't know why that is. Like it's like way more prominent now. Maybe we're just more exposed to news in general. We just
Teachers,
hear
why
about
y'all fucking the
everything now.
students? It's pretty like grown ass men out here like this. You know,
Looking to procreate.
Yeah, come on, y'all out here tripping. Y'all giving 13-year-olds head and shit. Then you know them niggas gonna tell somebody. It's like the first time they got head. Like, come on,
I
like.
know. That was the thing. People are like, "Oh, what an idiot! Why would he like rat on himself to?"
They all do too.
But it's
How
like
do-
they're
so
not
many
ratting on
y'all
themselves.
get-
They're like,
oh.
"Yo, guess what my teacher did?" That's what I think happened.
Well, duh, cause like, why wouldn't you do that?
That's what I'm
I'd
saying.
do it. I'm like, yo, y'all won't believe what motherfucking Miss So and So did, nigga. Like,
I know Miss So and So is in your head.
who?
Curry.
Oh.
Yeah, just from back in the Gap, you know, back
Yo,
in
what
the
was
childhood
crazy?
days.
She was like a student teacher in 6th grade, and then
Followed
like
us.
in 7th grade, she was like regular teacher. She was like her first year, and she got like mad pregnant, so she was gone like the whole half a year.
She
It was like
finessed them.
for real.
Hey, so this is out of nowhere, but I need to get your take on this. Are you waffles or pancakes?
I like waffles more,
Me too.
but I can eat pancakes. Like I feel like
too.
pancakes like fill me up too much faster though.
I can see
Like
that.
I can go to like Waffle House and get the like All-Star things like $7.99, $8.99, some shit like that. And it's like, well, you get the one waffle, you get the eggs, and like, you know, the bacon,
Like
the
that Grand
sausage.
Slam.
Yeah, it's pretty much that. But it's just like one waffle. And like half the time, I barely even eat the whole thing because like I'm
Yeah.
that full. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, you know, I go to IHOP and it's like, get like, just like a short stack.
15 pancakes on top of them.
Yeah,
themselves?
like, and then like still, I'm like, man, I could eat more. That's why they like all you can eat too. I don't know. I
I
feel
like
they
I like waffles
extra
more
heavy,
though.
heavy, but like you don't know how much you eat. They're like edibles, you know, like because they're
You
so
ate, like,
fluffy and rich and
12.
shit. You like can just eat them and eat them.
It catches up to you. You're like, oh, I'm so full.
For real.
Well, no, like waffles, I like way more. I like the texture. I like the crunch. I like that. I feel like you have more control of the amount of syrup because it contains it.
Yeah, like in the squares and shit.
Yeah. So if you want a
Ain't
lot,
no squares in my syrup.
They're lot in waffles though. You put a shit ton of syrup in there if you want, or if you want a little bit, you can do that. I like that it's crispy too, because sometimes I want to go way off.
Crispy.
I'll spread some peanut butter and jelly on it, make a peanut butter jelly sandwich with the waffles.
Damn, nigga.
Hey, trust, try it. Don't knock it till you try it.
You be going hard with the waffles. Shit.
Here's my question though, because this happened to me the other day. I went out, nice little breakfast. I usually cook breakfast 99% of the time, but sometimes I'm like, I'll go to a restaurant and have somebody hook it up. And I went to this place, Snooze. You know Snooze.
I don't know that place, but
It's a Millennial place.
alright.
So it's all breakfast and shit like that, and I'm like, cool. I'm looking for like those fat pancakes or waffles, maybe like Belgian waffles, maybe even like square shaped,
Yeah.
where they put like that fat scoop of butter in the center, and they do the powdered sugar on that shit. Maybe put some like fresh berries on there. Those Millennial waffles, that's what I was looking for.
Came out with an Eggo.
They don't have any waffles.
Ah, that's whack.
They have pancakes, but that's why I was like, it's just not the same.
Oh, you didn't even get it? You didn't get it?
Got
Yeah,
eggs.
fuck that shit.
So would you? That's the question. Where
Would
are
I,
you at
like,
with that?
Would I have gotten the pancakes? Nah, I would have went for French toast after that.
They have a shit ton of French toast.
See, that's my next move.
That was the
Because
move.
tell you the truth, I'm really more of a French toast nigga.
Yeah,
Out of like all three, I think I'm more of a French toast nigga.
I
man.
like it, but I'm like, I don't know. I like waffles the most,
For sure. That's cool.
but I also don't like a ton of syrup. And I feel like with French toast, you have to have a ton of syrup because it kind of gets that griddled, like fried taste because of the egg. You know, where like you kind of have to cut it with some sweet.
Oh yeah, I feel you. So that shit also like thick and rich and shit like that. Just like I
Man,
like
I
my
want some
women.
French toast now. Thick and rich. Like who?
Mrs. Buttersworth, nigga. What?
Thick and rich like who?
What you mean?
I try to tee you up, man. See,
Oh,
that's how I know.
like Joy Taylor.
That's what I was like, hey, that's how I know I'm gonna be representing the fan club.
Man, you
CEO
tripping,
and
bro.
president.
Come on, you can't be putting me on the spot like that, though. You know what I'm saying? I'll be thinking sometimes. Like I said, it be so many out here.
So that's the wrap on my docket. Do you have anything else
Man,
to get into today?
you know what? Some of this shit, man. I think I can sit on it, and you know I may need like other comrades to
Yeah.
like, cause it's some shit like I really kind of want to get to,
But you saving it.
but I gotta save it, bro.
All right, I
'Cause
respect
you know how,
it.
like,
I like it. No,
you
that's
know how
good.
like you kind of gotta like really like go through with what else. You saw it on
Yeah.
the docket. You kind of like you gotta.
Oh,
really,
nah, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Don't
I
even
keep
worry
that
about it.
shit a secret. Like I keep it like fresh so that it's like first impression of what the content is. Save it though. No, save it. Cause we're like we said, we're waiting on the good equipment to come in. Amazon, what's up?
Oh yeah, hey man, once that interface come in, bro, it's on, nigga.
See, and this is the problem with ordering shit right around Black Friday. It wasn't for Black Friday, but it was like a week before. Amazon, where's my shit
You
at?
sure it ain't coming? No motherfucker styled it.
That might have happened too. So, anyway, we're gonna have the interface. We can get the big guns out for the next episode. Do a 4-mic rotation. I mean, I think we did pretty well.
I think we're
with
gonna
Gary
do
and Jock that one time.
I think we're gonna do that because we gotta get the boy, man, Alan. We gotta get
Alan.
Jamal, like
Mm-hmm.
Blake, whenever that nigga be just setting and shit. You know what I'm
Wearing
saying?
the suit
Yeah,
at all times.
crazy man.
Hey, but the other part of it we have to announce, the third time we've announced it, is Play It By Ear, coming soon.
It's coming very soon, guys. That's something we try to be more structured on. You know, so we want to like really give y'all like we want to sound like we know what we're talking about. Like, don't at me. It's kind of like, yo, we don't give a fuck. We're just kind of talking. You know what I'm saying? This is really just a conversation amongst men, and y'all are just privileged to hear it. You know, but I don't know. With Play It By Ear, gonna be like way more structured. We're gonna have facts and shit like that for you. You know,
Not factually spontaneous
But-
or ambiguous.
yeah, but I mean, there will probably be some of that because I mean, I don't know. Music, I feel like it's subjective.
It is.
Most definitely. So,
It
you know what I'm
is.
saying? But we'll have good takes on that shit. Fire shit.
That's gonna also be on at therep.network on Instagram. I
Yeah.
worded that.
Oh, yeah, we got a YouTube. Now, that's another thing you got too, man. You got a camera, didn't you?
I did. So
Oh,
we're gonna
shit.
roll out some footage next
We're
time.
going to let y'all niggas see us.
The
and
mobile
shit, man.
stew. The mobile stew. Have to get some photos of that and put that shit out. Of course, on Twitter, you can find us at podcast@me.
Yo.
At podcast@me. I worded that really weird, or said that really weird.
Yeah, we got to, I don't know. It just doesn't kind of flow.
Yeah, that might change at some point.
For real. Yeah.
At us
Yeah, but-
with what we should make don't at me's Twitter handle. Anyway, you'll catch us over there. Apple Podcast, subscribe, rate, review. Spotify, follow, rate, review. Google Play, Stitcher. We're on YouTube as well, so you get some photos of us handsome gents. But with that,
That
hey,
nigga lying, 'cause he ugly.
stay tuned. We'll holler at y'all next week.
All right. See you.
Hey, hold on real quick. Hold on. Pause.